So does anyone remember from the previous video when I told you that I prepped the Budapest for black? Specifically, I wanted to prep the most not played, the least likely to be known possible. I wanted to get a chess position that my opponents didn't know, and I kind of was the goal. So with black, here was my prep. d4, knight f6, c4, and in this position I was going to play e5. And after takes, the main move is knight g4, trying to regain the pawn immediately. However, there is a side line where you go knight e4, which was popularized by, I don't even know, I know his Lee Chess username. I studied his games for this tournament. It was by the Yaacattack. It would take me 2 seconds to find out his name, but, I'm lazy. Yes, Spinal Tap knows. And the prep was, okay, a3 is the best move here, sort of, to prevent bishop b4. There's, a few main ways to play. If knight f3, I'll play bishop b4. And then you, trade everything, and you can go queen e7 in some lines and regain the pawn. And everything's cool. And I studied, the common endgames that he would get consistently. I spent more time, however, on a3 because, you can kind of get refuted. And a3, of course, bishop b4 is not working, so you go d6. And if takes, it's you're down a pawn, but you got 2 pieces out. You play it like a gambit, Just play in the spirit of attacking chess. But the move here that, coach said, nobody knows this move, but if they do, play knight c5. Queen c2 is the refutation, basically. And the reason is that queen c2 actually prevents bishop f5. At first glance, it actually looks like it makes bishop f5 better because you're setting up so many tactics on the queen. But bishop f5 is actually now a blunder because of the move knight to c3. And we will see why in a second. But my prep here, if someone somehow knew queen c2, I was gonna play knight c5 and just do my best. That was, you just kind of try to hold on. If they go b4, you go knight e6, and you're down a pawn. It's it could be worse. You get a weird position. I don't think I'd get a better position if I play a real opening, so, it is what it is. Okay, that's your backstory. In round 2, I was actually white. So why is all this relevant? Well, I played d4. My opponent went knight f6. I went c4, and my opponent sat there for a second. And I was like, oh boy. Am I gonna be able to do this? I actually know this stuff? If any other time someone had played this against me, I wouldn't know what to do. But I just so happened 2 days ago to look at this, and he was kind of an older guy, and I thought it was likely that he might play a weird thing. And my opponent goes e5. And I'm like, holy shit. I tried to stay calm, And this is hilarious. This is hilarious because my opponent, as an older gentleman, I assume, was trying to get the young kid, not that I'm a kid, but younger than him, out of theory. But this is literally the only thing I knew theory in. So this is the most unlucky thing ever. We're still not out of the water though, because if takes knight g4, I didn't look at this at all. I don't know what's going on. After knight g4, I would just have to play chess. But then my opponent goes knight e4. My opponent goes knight e4. And I take a deep breath and I'm like, okay. Just immediately play a3. Get up and walk away. He didn't look happy. And then my opponent plays d6. And I basically immediately played queen c2. Now, you'll never guess what my opponent played. Bishop f5. Okay, we need to know why this is a blunder. Now, from what I remembered, knight g3 is obviously the threat, defending the bishop, attacking the queen, attacking the rook. We need some way to defend. If I go knight f3, I'm basically losing. Well, I have e4 as long as I move the knight either to c3 or d2. I didn't remember which one, so I actually did some calculating here to try to go backward and figure it out. I was like, what's the difference? I'm 90% sure it's knight c3 because that's a much more normal move. But you never know. And I didn't really remember it super well. So I was like, okay, what's the difference? What's the difference? Knight d2, knight g3, e4, takes on h1, takes on f5. And then I looked at, because there's no rook here, it's a rare situation where queen h4 actually attacks the h2 pawn. And because the knight is on h1, it's an even weirder situation. The knight is attacking f2, and the queen from h4 is actually forking f2 and h2. And then I was like, oh wait, that's only because my knight is on d2. If my knight were on c3, I could respond to queen h4 with knight f3, attacking the queen and defending the pawn. So it's, knight c3 is the right move. Yay. You'll never guess what my opponent plays. Knight g3. Just fully committing to the one idea. I go e4. Opponent takes on h1. I take on f5. The horsey is now trapped, and just to demonstrate what I was talking about, queen h4 is a non-threat now, because knight f3 is like defending the pawn and also attacking the queen. You have to go back. Bad situation for black. So my opponent takes on e5. And from what I remembered, in some games, like most games, people were playing g3, which didn't really make that much sense to me, because yeah, taking on g3 is like bad. But I also thought, like, I mean, why would I let him take a pawn on the way out? Why would I do that? And I also thought the only thing the knight could do is attack the f2 pawn, so I just went bishop e3, defending f2, preventing bishop c5, keeping the knight entombed in the sarcophagus, and also preparing to bring a rook to d1, because you'll see in a second the queen is actually having some trouble as well. The knight comes to c6, which makes sense, trying to like clog the d file, but after rook d1, he's in kind of a sticky situation. Where does the queen go? Because if the queen goes to e7 or f6, knight d5 comes with a tempo, and I'm attacking c7. Queen can't come to g5. If the queen comes to h4, I go knight f3. Queen can't go here, 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 here. It would have to go here or here. From which it would be like nearly trapped. And that really leaves like queen c8 and queen b8. I thought he was going to play queen c8 here, which is a really hard move to play because it's terrible. I mean, this is just losing already, if we're being honest. But my opponent tries queen h4, to which I immediately play knight f3, and he goes queen h5. Okay, so the queen is trapped, just by the way. Well, I guess aside from g4. But I'll have ideas in the future. Like, I mean, you could already think about queen e4 to play g4, something like this. The issue now with knight d5 is he can castle queenside, because I have temporarily blocked the d file. So instead I actually went knight b5 with the same threat, a less threatening looking move, but it's actually better because it forces the king to stay in the center. And again, like, how do you defend the pawn? Because if like rook c8, I have options. What was I gonna play? Oh, I was just gonna play like queen d2 or queen d3 and threaten this. You know, looks terrible. Yeah, opponent did play bishop d6, which I thought wasn't possible because of c5. Like, you're just losing a piece, you know, go back. I really thought he should just do this. He's looking for counterplay. It was around here too, by the way, when I played knight b5 that I got up and I looked at the pairings for the first time, because I got my pairings texted to me, so I didn't need to like check, but it doesn't tell you the ratings. And I went and I checked the rating, and I was expecting a floored 1900. But I went and I looked, and my opponent's rating is 2200, and I'm like, oh shit. Oh no. But then I was like, why does that matter? The position is like the same. Floored 2200, yeah. So he either is a life master or has been 2400, I assume just a life master. So I go c5, yeah, he goes a6, but this is actually kind of going to be an even worse situation, because after c takes d6, takes on b5, I have time to play d7 check, and now the king is under a little bit of scrutiny here. One amazing line I saw was if he goes king f8, I actually have the incredible queen takes c6, removing the guard of d8, and after takes, you don't promote. You play bishop c5 check first, pushing the king to g8. There's no way to block, and then you promote to a rook, takes, checkmate. So this is one thing that can happen. This was one idea I had. So he didn't do that. If he goes like king d8, probably just takes on b5, take the knight, and then like come in. You know, something like this. Opponent is brave and plays king e7. I'm really proud of the move I played here. I played the best move here. It's easy to get lost in the sauce here. I think there's so many tempting moves. But what is the number one rule of attacking? Or not the number one, but you know, certainly one of them. So here I'm just gonna put candidate moves. So you say queen c5, bishop g5, f6. I thought to myself, like, I even looked at knight takes e5 as an idea. I feel like there's many ways to win here. Yeah, but mine's by far the best. All of these lines would be made better if this knight did not exist. I also thought to myself, like, what if I just like include all my pieces in the attack? You know, this is gonna be so much worse. So I just take on b5. It's like a nice calm like regrouping move because attacks come in waves. You know, it's not always gonna be just like bam, 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 bam. Like sometimes you have to regroup, bring in a little bit more forces, and then it's not even calculation. Like it's just like bring in all the pieces, you know, makes it better. So, I mean, f6, I don't know, it just gives him like another way out. I mean, he's lost. There's just no reason for it, though. That's why bishop takes b5 is so nice. There's no reason to do any of this stuff yet. Almost any move he can make makes his position worse. So my opponent sees, like, just how bad this bishop being here is for his position, and he just needs to get some pieces away. So he tries rook a5, which I actually did see coming. This is what I assumed he would do if I took on b5, but I had a plan. One of the ideas I liked a lot was bishop g5, and if he has to do anything but f6, he's, like, getting got. If I can make it so f6 is a bad move for some reason, then this is great. So takes, I go queen c4, my subtle move. Defending the bishop. Opponent takes the bishop, which is an exchange sack I was expecting. Recapturing is actually a mistake, because bishop g5 now wins the game on the spot. Yes, because if f6, I have queen e6. More specifically, f6, queen e6. If the king comes back, now bishop takes f6. The king can't move anywhere. If here this is mate. He has to take check. He has to block. Take this. He can't block with the queen. Take this. King goes here, promotes to queen equals mate. Actually, excuse me, promotes to bishop equals mate. So that takes care of that. And actually, in fact, after I played bishop g5 here, instead of taking, my opponent just resigned. This is where he called it quits, which makes sense because the best move would actually just be to take this. This is a forced mate. What was your small talk after the game? I didn't have much to say. It was over quickly. I kind of wanted to tell him like listen, man, like you say there's no RNG in chess. That's not true. This man got the worst RNG that anyone has ever gotten. Literally anything else, I would have been unprepared. This is the only thing I knew. And I just, like, 2 days ago looked at it. Just amazing. Even more amazing than that, does anyone want to guess my accuracy? It was 18 moves. 99! No prep you do in chess is useless. It all comes in at some point. This one happened to immediately pay off, not in the way that I thought. Where I would be black, it paid off in a different way. Sometimes you look at something and then like 3 years later you get it and you're like, oh, I know this. Sometimes like you randomly look at the Budapest and then your opponent plays it. No one has played this against me in like 10 years.